Good afternoon, adventurers! Here we are at John's Dungeon Corner. It's Friday at the Collective in Altamont Springs, Florida. Ooh, yeah. All right. Hope everybody's had a wonderful week. We are going to jump on in and talk about quite a few things. Most of them related to painting. Today's subject, and someone not only asked me, but took the time to email me at johnsdc2021@gmail.com. Johns, Johns, DC 2021@gmail.com. About painting and miniature painting and how they get into it, what do they need to get and do. So, okay. Let's start. But before we jump into that, I want to talk about a couple things. One, I don't want to forget November, the first weekend of November, I want to say November 5th and 6th, is the 24-hour gaming day. Oh my gosh, it's going to go 24 hours nonstop to close of business Saturday all the way to close of business on Sunday. Ooh, that's a nice day. That's lots of gaming. So come on down, bring your games. There's going to be a lot of games going on, board games, card games, miniatures. We got a big Dungeons and Dragons mass melee, okay? The goblins, remember the goblins we talked about attacked? Well, guess what? They're back. And they are coming back with a vengeance. So hopefully our heroes and adventurers have leveled up and have become more experienced and tough and can fight those dastardly goblins. Anyway, all right. So with that being said, I want to bring out a game that Brendan said is a lot of fun, and it's called Clank, a deck building adventure game. Yes, it is a deck building game, but it's based on dungeon. It's not based on it, but it's a dungeon, I should say. And you are a pack of rogues that go down into the dungeon to basically rob the hoard and treasure of the dragon, and don't get caught. So it's a really fun game. It's very simple. You pretty much play against the board. Yes, you play against others, but it's every rogue for themselves, as they say. So make sure that you come and check it out. All right? It's called Clank. You can come and try it here at the Collective on board game night or any other night that there's open tables. A lot of fun, and it seems to be a hoot. So anyway, you got a two-sided board in there and a bunch of cards that you build decks with, and just a lot of fun. A lot of fun there. All right, that's Clank. Now, so we're going to be talking about painting miniatures. It's only proper, right, that we bring out some miniatures. See, some of the new miniatures that have arrived from WizKids. We have the Revenge Demon. Very nice. Very nice fig there. Nice monster. We have a male and a female Sphinx that have arrived. The Mage Hunter Golem. These are too small for me to put up there. So just come in the store. I'm telling you about it. So come in the store and check them out. A Laughing Hand and Fiendish Wanderer, a male human sorcerer merchant and tiger demon, and some werewolves. So, and there's a whole bunch of more. I just wanted to bring these out because these are really cool. So we go from the big monster to the medium monsters to characters and NPCs and more monsters. Because what game is without monsters, right? So talking about monsters, all right. So we're talking about painting these guys up, both characters, monsters, the NPCs that we play with, that we like and love. And so they asked me, so you use a lot of different kind of miniatures. We have painted miniatures and we have pre-painted miniatures. Some that we paint, some people have painted. Some that kind of look the same, some that are uniquely painted. So let's talk about that. First of all, these miniatures, a lot of miniatures nowadays are coming pre-primered. But I brought out the primers because the first step in painting, you don't want to just grab a miniature and start painting it. If it's not primered, the paint won't go on smoothly. It'll puddle in places. It'll block out some of it becomes a mess, I guess, which I don't want to say, but I'm going to say it becomes a mess. All right. Now, these primers, I'm using the Army Painter color primers because that's what I use a lot of. They come in all kinds of colors. Of course, your standard white and black. Nice, very nice. And of course, And this is something I tell people. So if let's say we're going to paint a lot of goblins or a lot of orcs or something along the lines of green, okay? Lizard men. There is primers. There are primers. They have primers in colors. This is called green skin. Okay, you see it's green. I would suggest to you, since most of it is going to be in green, I suggest to you that you grab a can of that green, spray paint the whole miniature, and then add the colors that you want onto it, whether they have leather armor on or rags, or silver for the weapons and that. But you base the body, and then you can wash it or ink it or whatever it is, shade it and highlight it if you wanted to with the green for the facial features and the muscles and the arms and legs and that kind of thing. But you have your model, primarily it's going to be green, unless it's a fully armored model, in which case silver would work. If you're doing kobolds and their red dragon lineage, there's red, there's orange, there's brown for creatures, that are brown and such. There are flesh tones. There are a lot of colors that they have in the, in the primers, all right? So it's a great thing to have, and you can actually, when you're doing your primering, you can kind of shortcut it by using a color that you're going to use anyway. All right, so with that being said, let's go on to the pre-primered. So as I was saying, miniatures nowadays, a lot of them come pre-primered. That means you can take them straight out of the box and go to painting. Manufacturers have found a way to do it, and I appreciate them for doing it. And a lot of them do that. A lot of the miniatures from the various different manufacturers come that way. It's a shortcut. You don't have to wait for the primer to dry or anything. Oh, talking about that. So I like to give the primers at least a half a day or even a day to dry. Okay, I'll primer something and then leave it. And then once I start painting, I'll try to primer as much as I can at one time of the colors or colors. You can, by the way, let's say let's say you're doing something that's big and half of it's I'm just going to make it simple. So half of it's white, half of it's black. Or let's say it's brown and green for whatever reason. You can actually primer whatever part you're going to do in green, and the rest of it brown. Or if it's metal, or whatever it is, you can do it. They even have gold colors. They have gold and silver and other primers. But these guys have a great range. The Army Painter line has a great range of primers. Lots and lots of colors. So now let's talk about, we got it primered, the miniature's ready to paint. Or maybe it just came pre-primered and we're ready to paint. So this is a really nice monster set. It's the D&D Nolzur's Marvelous Pigments Monster Paint Set. Okay, has 36 war paints, 29 acrylics, 3 washes, 3 metallics, and 1 effect, which I believe is a shade. And it has an owlbear miniature in it. I like it because it gives you a lot of color, a lot of bang for your buck. Okay, 36 war paints and a miniature. Okay, that's pretty amazing. Now, you've got purples and yellows and oranges. You've got a couple skin tones here. Let's see, you got fair skin, rosy skin. You have orc skin in here. A lot of different blues. You got silver, bronze, and gold. So there are a lot, and these are actually colors that you would use for skin. You got a ruddy skin for like a tan. You have the bone color for skeletons. So a lot of your base colors are in here that you can just coat the miniature, especially skeletons. Skeletons are great because you coat them in an off-white or a white, okay? Or even maybe like a tan, and then you put like a dry brush over top of them and a wash and a dry brush, and wow. Also, you got really cool looking skeletons, and they go quick. I suggest, this is my suggestion, what I do. When I try to paint like a bunch of goblins, I'll primer them all green, okay? Primer them all green, get them nice and primered, and then just start working on them. And you can make them individualistic because they got shields. They don't have a shield. They have a spear. They have a sword. They have a sword and shield. Maybe they're a bowman, whatever. You can individualize them that way. But it's fast when you're painting a lot of the same type of miniature. So just go ahead and primer them up. That way it's quick, it's easy, and you don't have a lot of fuss. Okay, So with that being said, then we go. I want to jump over here to the actually Armor Painter paint sets. They have a starter box that has. It's actually really nice because it has. What's it have in it? Oh, here we go. 10 paints, all the basic colors, and it has a starter brush in it. Really nice because this one comes with a brush. And you know, the brush, you can use it over and over. You just change the colors. This has a couple flesh tones. It has the barbarian flesh. It has your black, blue. It has a strong tone. That's something I do like, the strong tones. And I'll tell you about the tones in just a second. They're really neat. So you can paint your miniature. This is nice to start out with, especially if you're on a budget. It's great. The price is, like I said, bang for your buck. A lot of these paints are awesome. Now, they also have a metallic set. I'm going to talk about the metallic set before I talk about this set here, actually. Kind of jump over here to the metallic set. This has 16. It has a paint tray in it. Has 8 metallic paints and 18 millimeter dropper bottles and 16 stainless steel mixing bowls, which is really cool because you can put them in there and it helps you mix it. Hi, Sarah. Happy Friday to you. Paints, lots of paints. The Army Painter line, in fact, that you like. This has 8 different colors ranging from gold down to rough iron, gunmetal, plate mail, shining silver, what is it, true copper, bronze, gold, 2 different golds, greedy gold, which is a darker gold, and a bright gold. So these are really nice, okay? And can be used for all kinds of things. And they look good on the miniatures. They really stand out. You can actually tell that they're metallic paints. Their pigmentation, that they got this just look about them. They said, ooh, that's cool. Now, when talking about that, you know, that takes a little bit of time. So we start out with the primering, or it's pre-primered, and we put a base coat on it. We let that dry, and then we might sit there and shade it. We might sit there and dry brush it and use several layers of dry brushing and maybe lighten this and maybe darken that, shadow, light, all these. I mean, some of these miniatures that you see are beautiful. They're gorgeous. They're very high quality. If you're more along the lines of me and just want to get things painted and make them look tabletop ready, then there's another way of doing it that's a little quicker, especially for models that are going to be all the same. And I've done this in previous shows. I brought in some models that I've done with these speed paints, the starter set. Now, the starter set, as you can see, has 10 different colors. I was right, 10. And it has a free brush in it. It's basically when they say, hey, Willie, how are you? Good to see you, brother. All the way from New York. All right. So we're talking about the paints, the speed paints. These are a base, shadow, and a highlight all in one. So with this paint, it gives itself over to, you can actually just take the miniature right out the box and start painting it. Let's say the face is going to be like a leathery look, okay? And they have other paints. Don't get me wrong. This is just a starter set. And you paint the face, and it'll shade it. It'll highlight it. It's an all-in-one paint. And you can do this for every miniature. So if I had goblins, I take the orc skin. They call it orc skin. And there's other greens in there. I would just take it and do all their body. And then if they had leather, I just take the brown and do all the leather. And what it does, it takes the other 3 steps that I was talking about, the basing, the shading, and the highlighting, and does it for you. And it does a pretty good job of it. I've done some player characters. I've done some goblins. And I was really happy with the results. Can you touch it up even more? Absolutely. But especially for armies, as I said, I love this for armies. And I did do a character with it because I really wanted to see what it was. And the person I did it for loved how it turned out. And so did I. I brought it and showed it. It was a female dragonborn. And it turned out really nice. I liked the way it looked. It was quick, too. Didn't take me very long. And I was happy with the results. Looks really nice on the tabletop. And remember, that's the thing. There's different qualities of painting. You know, there's just, I painted this quick, and there it is. There's tabletop quality. And then, of course, there's the professional level and the level where you go and compete with it. And that's a totally different ball of wax there, okay? That's not something you're going to accomplish with speed paints. I mean, it'll help you maybe get started, but at the professional level, wow. there's people out there that aren't even professionals that can paint, and you watch the tutorials on YouTube. And it is simply amazing, amazing. And I've watched some of them, and I get ideas. I've always wanted to be better at painting, but I've come to the conclusion that tabletop quality is going to be it for me. And every once in a while, I will endeavor to sit down with a miniature, ein, and paint it really, really nice. And that's my miniature usually. But the poor goblins and orcs and skeletons and the multitudes of creatures that I use, they get tabletop quality, and here we go. And that's all she wrote. But now I'm showing you, these are the smaller sets. Oh, this is a nice substantial set there, but these are the smaller paint sets that they carry here. Right now we're out of the bigger boxes. Oh my gosh. Army Painter has a paint set that's just amazing. The box is huge. I think it's like there's one that's a full line that has every paint, and then there's another set that's a little smaller, but still an amazing amount of paints. Love them. Before I get off of Army Painter, so this is what the Army Painter, and hear it. I don't know if you can hear it. They got the little metal ball in there that helps mix it up. Okay, and this is hard. This is hardened leather. Okay, it's speed paint, and you can tell by the yellow cap. Now the normal paints, I forgot to bring one out of here. Silly me. Is a black cap. The silver cap is a speed paints, and these gold caps that you see in front of me are, and you can hear, they also have, this is the airbrush paints. Yes, Army Painter has airbrush paints also. And from what I've heard, I mean, I do not airbrush. I have not risen to that level or tried to attain that level, I guess I should say. But they are amazing. I've seen some done, and wow, it's amazing. Airbrushing is great. From what I've seen, it's really awesome for like bigger miniatures, especially like carriages and things like that. I have a ship that I've actually been kind of looking at and thinking, I should get an airbrush just to sit there and do these big ones that I have, like the bridge, the boat, things like that. And I'm like, wow. But other than that, I mean, I've seen some smaller miniatures that have been airbrushed, and you're like, wow, holy moly, that is just crazy. And I love it. It looks really, really good. So that's the whole spectrum of paints. Now, I didn't talk about brushes because brushes, there are so many brushes. Some sets come with brushes, some of them don't. There's paint trays that you can use, wet palettes that you can use. And these are all things that each individual, it's up to you to kind of go with it. I've used wet palettes. Sometimes I don't. I've used the speed paints. I've used all the paints, the washes, and that kind of thing. And I enjoy it all. It's a lot of fun. That's the one thing about painting. If you can get into it, it's very relaxing. If you can just kind of take, even if it's just an hour, if you just take an hour, it's not like you have to sit there all day painting. But if you can take like an hour to sit down and just relax and paint, it's really calming. It's pretty cool. And when you get done, you got this work of art. Really, I mean, hey, you painted it, right? It's work of art. And even though you may be painting all these goblins all at one time, they will never. They really do look individualistic, because you do little things like on a shot. Let's say you have three of the same ones, and they maybe this was in leather, but his breeches, if he has pants on, might be blue or red or green or just a dirty gray. You know what I mean? So you can kind of individualize even the little, with just a little bit of paint, just a little dip. You paint the pants gray, dirty gray, or brown like leather pants, or maybe some tattered blue pants or something. And there you go. You've got three of the same exact miniature that are distinguishable as individuals because of just the pants. Okay? You don't have to change to that one. This guy's a shield and spear, and this guy's a shield and sword. Nah, they can be all shield and spear, and there you have it. Okay? So you just have to be a little creative in how you paint. Now, talking about that, here at the Collective, we're privileged to have Fiona, who comes in once a month and does paint classes. I don't know which day she's doing them right now, so I'm not going to give you any misinformation. But if you go on the website or just pick up the phone and call the collective, they'll be able to tell you when she'll be in next. Sometimes I've seen her more than once on a monthly basis, but that's she comes in, and I'm sure that the folks here will happily tell you, hey, Fiona's coming in on such and such a day. She does a great job. I'll tell you, I've shown you some of her work. It is simply amazing. She will take you from the basing all the way up to the highlighting and any level in between. She does great work. She's done these great speed painting, not with the speed paints now, mind you, but with regular paints. She'll sit there and start it, and she does her base coat and lets it dry, and then she's working on another part, and she'll have like another minute she's working on, and she'll come back to this one, and she times them individually. And I mean, it's amazing what you can do in like 20 minutes. It is crazily amazing. And I'm just astonished at how she does it. Looks really nice. Like I said, a real nice tabletop quality miniature and quick. She has the class. Sometimes you can bring your own miniatures, by the way, if you're just having a hard time trying to figure out how you want to do a paint scheme or how to get something a certain way. Bring it in, and she'll sit with you and help you. I've seen many people do it. All right? So that's that. I wanted to talk about the painting. I mean, the paints are so extensive. It's almost like miniatures. There's all types and brands, and the primers come in colors and black and white, metallics even. So that's really nice nowadays. It's good to see that. Makes life a little easier for you. So you just have to kind of choose which way you want to go. Let's not forget about Clank, the card game, the dungeon card game where you're a rogue trying to steal a dragon's hoard. Imagine that. We got a lot of new miniatures in this week, so don't forget about them. Come by and see them. And as always, we have dice. Oh, we got dice. There's a whole showcase. It's showcase up on the case that's full of nothing but these gorgeous gemstone dice. Oh, they are just out of control. They are amazing. There's metallic dice, sharp edge dice. Of course, we have the foam brain dice that are really cool, and the old school dice, Chessex, every imaginable color. Oh wow, and multicolor with sparkles, without sparkles, swirls, sparkles and swirls with designs in them. All the character class dice have like the Bard I've told you has the little loot in it. I'm always amazed when somebody looks at them and go, oh my gosh, that's so cool. They have dice pillows too. Yes, Sarah, dice pillows. Yes. Let us not forget those. They are comfy. They're the big, giant 20-sided dice there. Very cool. Very cool. And your favorite colors. And if they don't have it, they can order it for you. That's the best part. If you come in and you don't see something, so let's say they're missing a color or something, and you see, or you want a certain particular paint set. And there are a lot more paint sets than just these. Don't get me wrong. I just bring these up because this is what fits on my table. But you can tell them, hey, I want this. And they will go through and they'll order it for you. Okay? And they're great because if something's not available right then, they will sit there and they will look for it and try to get it. It's not like, oh, we don't have it and that's the end of it. No. They'll say, hey, look, I'll give me a few. Let me go look for this. And even if they can't, they'll take your name and number, call you back. They will research things for you. They're great about that. All right? So 2 thumbs up to the collective and the staff here. They make it more of a community and a home for a lot of us. Other than that, gang, that's it. That's all I got for you. But don't forget, John's DC 2021 at gmail.com. That's JOHNS DC 2021 at gmail.com for all your questions. And remember, there's no question that I won't answer. Sometimes what I do is I wait till some people, because I know there'll be more questions to answer. I kind of give them a little bit. And that's why you'll hear me say, hey, next week we'll talk about this. It's because I'm trying to get some more people to send in some questions, because if not, I start deviating, and I want to make sure that I answer as many questions at one time as I can. All right. Other than that, it's been a wonderful time with you. Thank you for sharing your time with me. May the road always rise up to meet your feet, and may all your adventures be successful. This is John from John's Dungeon Corner at the Collective saying, see you next Friday.